PennDOT has traveled throughout Pennsylvania to hear your thoughts about electric vehicles. We consistently heard that there is a need for reliable information about electric vehicles. This is EVs in Focus, the environment. A clear environmental advantage that electric vehicles, or EVs, have over gas cars is that they don't produce any tailpipe emissions. But what about the emissions from generating electricity to charge an EV? Or the emissions produced from manufacturing, or end-of-life disposal, or recycling the vehicles? When you add it all up, are EVs better for the environment than gas cars? Studies consistently find that the answer is yes. Even when you account for emissions associated with electricity for charging an EV, and even though EV manufacturing produces more emissions than gas car manufacturing, EVs have a lower environmental impact over their lifetime because their emissions from electricity generation are much lower than the emissions from burning gasoline. This chart was reproduced using data from the International Council on Clean Transportation. The electricity for charging an EV is produced from a variety of fuels. Some of it comes from renewable energy, like solar and wind, and some comes from fossil fuels, like natural gas and coal. The amount of emissions from charging an EV ultimately depends on the energy sources used to generate electricity, which varies by location. The emissions from charging an EV are almost always less than the emissions from a gas car's tailpipe. Furthermore, emissions from gasoline extraction, refining, production, and transportation also contribute to a gas car's total environmental impact. The amount of electricity generated from coal, the source of electricity with the highest emissions per unit of electricity, has declined significantly in recent years. Pennsylvania is part of an electricity grid region that received 14% of its electricity from coal in 2023, as compared to 44% in 2013. Similar declines have occurred nationally. As Pennsylvania and the United States continue to generate more electricity from lower emission sources, including renewable energy, the emissions from charging an EV will continue to decline. Renewable energy is now the dominant form of new generating capacity in the United States, accounting for more than half of new generating capacity since 2013. There are other sources of emissions worth comparing: manufacturing, end-of-life disposal, and non-exhaust emissions. Although emissions from manufacturing and end-of-life disposal are higher for EVs than gas vehicles, advancements in battery technology and recycling reduce the raw materials needed for EVs, which reduces their overall life cycle emissions. As an example, the battery-related demand for lithium, nickel, and cobalt would be about 60%, 130%, and 140% higher respectively without recent advancements in technology. All vehicles produce a small amount of non-exhaust emissions, which are emissions from brakes, tires, and the surface of the road. Vehicle size and weight, and tire and brake materials are the main factors that affect how much non-exhaust emissions a vehicle creates. Whether a vehicle is electric or gas-powered, non-exhaust emissions are a very small portion of a vehicle's overall emissions. There are also ways automakers can reduce non-exhaust emissions, such as choosing low-emission tire materials. In summary, EVs are better for the environment than gas cars over their lifetime. As renewable energy continues to grow, the environmental impacts of EVs will decrease further. This was EVs in Focus, the environment.